New information pouring into the newsroom on the man accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk, who is in custody. The 22-year-old lived and attended school in Utah. We're told a family friend contacted police with information on his whereabouts. So far, NBC has found no criminal record matching his name and age. Tonight, we also learned messages were engraved on some of the bullets found inside the murder weapon. We begin tonight with Kirk's widow. Late this evening, she delivered her first remarks since his assassination. Let's get to NBC 10's Matt DeLucia in the Live Center with that.
Yeah, and Jackie, first you mentioned Utah Governor Spencer Cox said that there were those inscriptions on at least 4 shell casings. One of them read, "Hey, fascist, catch." Another had a series of arrows, which may be a reference to a video game. All of this coming from that news conference earlier. Another inscription appears to show Italian song lyrics, and the fourth had a message that appeared to mock the investigators. But again, tonight we are hearing from Charlie Kirk's widow for the very first time. There she is speaking, and you know, last night she was escorted by Vice President J.D. Vance, and they took her husband's casket from Utah to Phoenix, and she says that she'll never have the words to describe the loss that she's feeling, saying that he laid down his life for his family and his country.
If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die.
And Erica Kirk there said that Turning Point USA events will go on as scheduled, including the campus visits, and that Charlie's podcast will also continue. Jacqueline.
Matt, turning back to the suspect, NBC 10's Lili Zheng is joining me now. Lili, I know you looked into how officials identified him and where this investigation goes from here.
Yeah, so Jacqueline, essentially we know that investigators analyzed surveillance video. They also interviewed the suspect's family, and they also reviewed online messages between him and a roommate. Now, we spoke with a local gun violence research expert, and he says the reality is there's really not a single profile that can help better explain or understand the suspects tied to these tragedies.
I hear all the time that words are violence. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And there is one person responsible for what happened here.
Utah Governor Spencer Cox announcing Friday that person authorities believe to be responsible for the murder of Charlie Kirk is Tyler Robinson. The 22-year-old is accused of shooting and killing the conservative activist.
Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had.
Kirk was a co-founder of Turning Point USA and an influential voice in the Trump administration. His killing at Utah Valley University Wednesday launched a multi-day manhunt.
The very act that Charlie championed of expression, that freedom of expression that is enshrined in our founding documents, in having his life taken in that very act, makes it more difficult for people to feel like they can share their ideas.
NBC News reports Utah and national public records associated with the suspect's name and birth date found no indication of the 22-year-old having a prior criminal record. His last voter registration date was on July 13, 2021, with no political party declared.
There just isn't a profile that helps us understand who's going to do this. Each story is a little bit different, even if there's some themes that are shared.
Michael Onestes is the executive director of the New Jersey Gun Violence Center. He says there is one common denominator.
The only variable that's the same across all shooters is ready access to firearms. That's it. So people want a profile. That's the profile. Folks with ready access to firearms. But the vast majority of folks with ready access to firearms would never even think about doing such a thing. So it's not a very good profile, right?
Adding the impact of gun violence is far-reaching.
While we might disagree on the solutions to the problem, nobody wants to see this. No side is cheering for this.
Now, charging documents are expected to be filed early next week. Those documents are expected to have more details on what investigators have learned so far. See how this shooting is causing a spike in gun permits coming up in the next few minutes. Jackie?
Lili, thank you. The live blog at NBC10.com is where you can get any new information on this developing story. You can catch up on the latest headlines and updates as they come into the NBC 10 newsroom.